I'll send you my thing here really quick, CJ.
Yeah, we may crank higher, bro. Just kind of side note, TLT with your bonds, they're heading higher as
Oh,
well.
I
They've
forgot
got
to add
some
my title.
higher lows, so that means money's coming out of bonds, and all that means into
Four,
stocks. Good for the market. Let's get it.
then okay. Change the saves. Right on. Okay. So, let me lobby that really quick for you, CJ, and we'll get this thing on the road. So, firstly, I'd just like to say, hi, people. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. And if you're coming back, well, welcome back. I wanted to start off with just a few words. We did gap up from Friday. Friday, we did pass the 4,000 mark on ES. That is an extremely important area in terms of the market overall. First time getting past that mark. Overall, the market is pretty strong. I am personally bullish. I am swinging Tesla currently. And on top of that, I am bullish on tech for a recovery. I'm not saying back to all time highs just yet, but overall, I do think that tech has been oversold quite a bit. So, that said, I am curious to see how this week plays out because as of right now, I do think it's pretty bullish in terms of ES, which is SPY. And with that, let's get this thing on the road. So, firstly, ES. So, we gapped up starting into today and notice that we have this kind of really nice start of a green candle. We did start open with a reversal at 4,031 with 25 cents. So as of right now, my indicator set, this is a custom indicator right now. I'm currently having this thing beta tested and tested for more accuracy. But we are seeing potentially we'll have a small pullback at open based off of this. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. But we are opening kind of green, so I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing people take profits in the morning. So that is something to consider. On top of that, we have ES. Let me put up a 1 hour chart. ES just crossed to the downside with a reversal at 13,350. That is pretty recent, but keep in mind we have extremely low volume because it is Easter. And lastly, CJ was just talking to me about this, but this is slash GC. These are gold futures. We have an H pattern that was completely canceled out by this bounce right here, double bottom at 1675. So we could potentially see gold rise higher as we saw that the crossover right here completely failed and opened back up. So with that said, we also have our custom indicator pointing down to the zero mark. With that in mind, we could potentially see this thing run up back to 1770 going into the next couple of days in terms of a daily chart. With an hourly chart, we had a very nice V-shaped recovery. If anything, is a really like steep head and shoulders or inverse head shoulders. And we basically just pinged a reversal here, but I would see this as a bull flag and potentially breaking up to the higher highs here. So overall, that's just like ES, futures, things that you can look at on a daily. I want to go over SPY, QQQ, and some tech names. That's mainly my watch list, and then I'll open it up for you guys to send me tickers and any questions that you may have. Just for a general question that I get asked all the time, yes, this is my full-time job. This is what I do for my own living. So yeah, just to get that question out of the way because I'm asked that every single time. But yeah, so in terms of SPY, we do have that huge gap up. And this is something to consider in terms of how bullish we are. My personal belief was that we would be kind of short squeezing and running higher going into the this week of 4/4/2021. So that is again something to consider. At least maybe tap this previous high where some contracts may have been executed. And with that in mind, I do think that we'll continue to head higher just a little bit as a short squeeze. As many people have put options that they're selling, they do want to, or call options that they're selling, they do want to keep this price high for those to expire worthless. So just something to consider, of course. And ES, or not ES, QQQ, same kind of deal. We have a very recent crossover event. This is because we've been sitting very overbought in terms of RSI. Friday was a very overbought day, very green. Overall, the extremely bullish nature of Friday is leading to this very overbought RSI, which is why I don't think, or why I do believe that we'll see a small profit take and maybe head back down to the 20 SMA in terms of QQQ. Next, we have Tesla. Tesla just got upgraded recently as of, I believe, a couple hours ago. I'm personally holding a position in Tesla, and so that is kind of a bias here, but I do believe that we'll see Tesla run higher going into this week. I personally believe we'll see it probably retest 700, but that is, of course, my personal thoughts. We did have an RSI reset from overbought back into neutral. We have a crossover event from that 690 spot back to where we are currently at around 660. And I'm currently holding 660 calls. I'm holding 5 contracts. On top of that, we are very close to the 200-day moving average. So if we were to fall below that, I would be very short biased. However, with that upgrade, I do believe we'll open up pretty green. I'm going to give you guys a couple more names that I'm watching, and I'll open this thing up for you guys to ask any questions or whatever tickers you may have. So, firstly, I do want to say I am a very big fan of Costco. I've been trading it a lot recently. I think you guys may have seen my profit screenshots on those because I'm definitely a little talkative when it comes to Costco. Costco pays really well in terms of premium, and it plays very slow. So it does give you a lot of time to react and to have an idea of what is going on with the stock itself. So that said, I do like Costco a lot. I think Costco is currently bull flagging in terms of an hourly or even a daily chart. Notice right here. And I think that if we can break above that recent high of 357, we can definitely head back up to maybe 360, 365 going into this week. We have an open crossover, and we are starting to go a little bit into the overbought area in terms of RSI, but as of right now, it is very bullish. And that said, the Costco premiums, you can take a 3-week out expiration, catch a $2 swing, and make about like 20%, which is why I'm personally a really big fan of Costco. So Costco, I like this as a bull flag setup and to run higher this week, especially with ES continuing higher. Next, we have Apple. Apple, again, also kind of has that same little bull flag setup that we're seeing. We do have a couple of gaps. However, that in mind, we are pretty bullish in terms of RSI, and we have a cross to the downside. So if we do fall below this 123 mark, I wouldn't be surprised if we retested 122 at the 200-day moving average for the hourly chart. And we also have the JP Morgan chart. I personally believe JP Morgan is a little beat up recently from this 160 mark down to where we're currently at around 150, 155. We recently broke above the 200-day moving average here, and that said, the overall trend right here could be a nice little recovery. This could be a very, very abstract inverse head shoulders. We had our crossover, and we're bullish in terms of RSI. Our custom indicator does show a 0, which is to go long. So overall, I would be pretty surprised, or I would not be very surprised if we saw at least a retest of 156, which is this previous high. I have a few more names here, and we'll get right to anyone who has tickers or questions. When it comes to that, feel free to unmute yourself or to just type into the chat whatever you have as a question. And yeah.
You can talk. What the?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the server settings for that. I can't really control those. So I'm gonna have the honor system. But what's up, Dougie? What how you doing, man?
What's good, bro?
What is up, bro? So yeah, gold was one of those names that CJ had mentioned today, and that is /GLD. We have an inverse head shoulders. We had a reversal at 157. We did ping reversal downwards at 162. And the thing that I'm watching this for is dependent on if we can hold on to the 200-day moving average right here on the hourly. If we fall back to this and fall below, this cancels the inverse head shoulders, and we end up most likely turning it into a normal head and shoulders, and most likely heading back down to 160, if not lower. Would you be open to doing a challenge account? Maybe. Depends. So yeah, for gold, I think we'll probably end up ripping a little higher with this inverse head shoulders, but we'll see. On top of that, we have Riot. Riot has been a little bit of a weird play here, mainly because of just tech being sold off, and they have a little more sensitivity to the market. When the market slides, these guys drop like 10% in a day. So, there's definitely a lot of money to be made in terms of Riot. It's currently sitting on the 50 SMA. I would be very careful of 9 SMA on the hourly, pushing them even further down. because this could potentially be seen as a bear flag. We are pinging a 3, which is short on our custom indicator. And so if we do fall below 52, I would be fine taking this thing short back down to 47 just based off of this current setup. Same thing kind of applies here on QS, which is, again, another little bear flag. We're riding on top of 20 SMA. We did ping reversal to the upside at 49.16. So overall, I would be kind of inclined to take a long here if we can get above the 200-day moving average. We are still relatively bullish in terms of RSI, and we had a reset from overbought. So with that said, I would be bullish above 52 for QuantumScape. And in terms of Riot, I would be short if it falls below 52. I also want to check on the VIX. This is just our volatility index. It's been getting absolutely slammed recently. And so this is why I'm very comfortable taking positions to the upside, mainly because the volatility is relatively low. So that means that we are, seeing overall bullishness. We don't have as much uncertainty and fear. And so that is something, to keep in mind when it comes to taking trades. On top of that, I want to look at Affirm because I recently bought shares. I do have a small bias, but we did ping a reversal to the upside recently, and we have a relatively flat MACD, so I wouldn't be surprised if this crossed back to the upside and retested this high at 75. If we can break above the high at 75, which is also the 200-day moving average, I definitely think that we can see this thing run a little higher, maybe back up to the 80s, and that'll most likely be where I take profit. I believe that's all the stuff that I wanted to look at. Is there anything you want to look at, CJ?
Yeah, I got a couple. I got Boeing on watch, BA.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of had almost an inside day the past 2 days, so break above 258. Thinking we got a pretty clean shot to 260 there. Especially, market or, economy kind of opening up, so, people are traveling a little bit more. So, yeah, above that 258 level, I'm definitely bullish, back up to 260.
Okay.
I think you already mentioned Apple, and if not, bruh.
I did mention Apple. It is kind of just in this consolidation phase, and I think this is a bull flag here, but it is dependent on if we keep this crossover or if we break it. But let me talk about Boeing really quick because it's actually pretty interesting what you said about this thing. So Boeing has recently bounced off of the hourly 200-day moving average. I think that if we can break above this 254 mark, we can definitely see this thing retest, even go for 260. Boeing itself is neutral in terms of RSI, and if we can break this bear flag right here, I definitely think that we'll see this thing ride a little higher. On top of that, our custom indicator did show 252.4 as a reversal to the upside. So from here, I think that if we can break above 50 SMA, we'll definitely hit 20 SMA, and from there, ideally, we retest this 258 mark. Do you have any other names, CJ, real quick?
Real quick, above, what's this? Disney above 189 and a half. I think it's a quick ride to 190, maybe 192. And again, you got parks opening up. Kind of got like a little bit of a rounding bottom going on the hourly. And we've been holding that 184 level very, very well. So Disney above 189 and a half, which is a 200 SMA right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can get a quick hit to 190 and then again 192.
Okay. So I agree with what you're saying here. I think that we do kind of have this like little triangle, if not like bull flag setup on Disney, and I think that if we can break above 190, definitely gonna run.
I got 200 as the overall PT because pretty much Disney's like it's in the 90s. So I mean like 200 is that mental number.
Yeah.
That people are eyeing.
I agree. Also too, let me know when you're ready for the next one, brother.
Here, yeah, no, I just sent out a message saying I'm taking tickers below the below right here. That way, we have a clean little break. I'm just hoping that people tag me in it so I know what's what. But
take a look at Palantir, PLTR.
Didn't they just get awarded a government contract or something like that?
Yeah, I got them going at 30 before demo day.
Break above 24. I think it's a clean ride to 25, then 26. Then you already know 27. So.
Yeah, so we'll see how these guys open.
Every dollar.
But I'm assuming, my guess, we're definitely going to end up seeing this thing open above 200-day moving average. With that said, we can go onto a 4-hour chart, and I believe we are rounding a bottom. Yeah, we double bottomed at 20, and I think that this is currently our stop right now, and we'll bounce up with that contract news. From there, we break above the 25 mark, and we have an inverse head shoulders back up to 27. I 100% agree with you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I covered everything else for me.
Yep. All right. Cool. All right. I'm gonna start taking tickers from viewers. So yeah, let's see what we got. Firstly, let me just go through these ones that I've got in DM. AMAT. I've got Neo. NEE. So MAAT, I don't know what this particular company is or what these guys do, but they do have a bull flag break as of right now above this 142 mark. They are very heavily overbought, but I wouldn't be surprised if they continued a little higher up. They are going into uncharted territory, so that is something to consider. However, it is currently on a pretty bullish trajectory. I personally, unless you're already in it, I personally wouldn't enter something like this, mainly because we have these massive gaps on the daily. So notice gap from 137 down to 133, 130 to 125. So that's just something to consider. But if you're already in this thing, shoot, I mean, you're getting paid. So the setup's here. You have a bull flag break. Next, we have Neo. I personally am not a big fan of Neo, but that's my personal bias. So we have an inverse head shoulders. If you can get this thing above the 200-day moving average, you can ideally get a crossover and this RSI reset from overbought. So you can maybe start going back into bullish. But if you can't get above the 200-day moving average, we'll probably see Neo start heading back lower. Next, we have NEE. I have no idea what this is, but it's currently crossed over but trying to cross to the upside. You are bullish in terms of RSI, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was almost like a bullish triangle and we headed to the upside. That's just based off of an hourly chart. Let me pull up a 4-hour. And you have a super nice double bottom. So if you can break this like 77 mark, that's kind of been resistance here, you can definitely see it ride even higher, maybe back to 80. That's above the 200-day moving average. So just something to consider there. Okay, let me go into these other tickers that we've got. So that was AMAT. So we got Square. We got Mara and 3M. All right, so Square, really quick, bull flag, and we have a reversal to the upside. You are having an RSI reset from overbought, but it is still bullish. And our custom indicator is heading down to 0. So overall, I would not be surprised if we saw this thing head back up to retest this 235 mark. Mara, pretty similar setup, bull flag, pretty bullish RSI, and the crossover is trying to happen. We do have a pinged reversal to the upside at 48.85. I would consider entry at around 50 to retest 52. 3M had a reversal to the downside at 195. This almost looks like a normal head and shoulders. If this thing were to fall with this 9 SMA continuing it, like pushing it downwards and falls below the 50 SMA, I wouldn't be surprised if we retested maybe like 185. You have a crossover and overall it's neutral, so it could go either way and maybe find support, but as of right now, I would find 3M to be kind of bearish. So let's see, what else do we have? Verb, VRB, TDoc, and Airbnb. So Verb, this looks like a penny stock. Personally, I'm just going to say this now, I don't really trade penny stocks, so take what I'm saying with a huge grain of salt. So that said, you do have a reversal to the upside here at 129. And you have a crossover that just happened. This thing's a little too flat for my personal taste on top of it being a penny stock. But if you can break above this, like, 135, 138 mark, you can maybe see this thing run back to 150. Again, keep that with a grain of salt. I don't really trade this particular stock, and it's also a penny stock, so be careful with that one. We have TDoc. You have a reversal to the downside at 186, and you have an open MACD. RSI is fairly neutral, but our custom indicator is heading towards 3. So I would be careful with this one. It kind of looks like a normal head shoulders, and you can maybe see it retest 178. We have Airbnb. So Airbnb has had this kind of nice little rounding bottom. This almost looks like an inverse head shoulders on the 4-hour chart because I was actually looking at this beforehand. We did come out of the oversold for RSI and we did cross over. However, we did just ping a downside reversal for Airbnb. So when we actually look at this in terms of an hourly chart, notice that we rejected the 200-day moving average. If we can get back above 190, I would be bullish on this as that inverse head shoulder setup on the 4-hour chart. I like Airbnb personally. That is my little bias there. Let's see, we got Vail, MT, GME. I mean, I'll chart out GME. That's fine. So let's see Vail and MT. Cool. So we've got MT. We did bounce 50 SMA. We do still have a crossover to the downside. I would wait for MACD to cross to the upside before I take anything long on this thing, and I would wait for it to, retest this high. Above that, I mean, you can continue seeing this thing be bullish. Overall, I mean, I would wait for that. Vail has a crossover that's currently happening in terms of our hourly chart. We did a possible reversal here at 17. I'm assuming that's based off of this 200-day moving average. And you have a pretty long wicked red candle, which means that people are still buying up this stock regardless. So if you can get this thing to cross over, I would see it retest that 17.5 mark and head higher. Next, we have GameStop. I mean, I don't really trade GameStop, but that said, we do have a possible reversal to the downside. So I would say a below 190 or 180, maybe retest the 138 mark, 140 with this crossover right here. And then let me just take a few more off of my DMs. So Target, CRM, and then let me take some from here. So I checked out that, T-Dog, Airbnb, GNOG. All right, so first, Target, we have a bull flag right here on in terms of the hourly. I think that if we break above this previous high at 202, we can definitely see Target rip to the upside. We just crossed over, and we have a pretty bullish RSI. On top of that, our custom indicator is at 0, and our other one's pinging reversal to the upside at 199.5. I would be very bullish on Target overall. CRM, Salesforce, also giant bull flag. It is on overbought. However, I think that might be superseded by this bull flag. I wouldn't mind taking this thing long going into tomorrow based off of how it looks right now, but it obviously depends on how it opens. GNOG, a little oversold, but we did bottom out at 12.5. We have a reversal right here at 12.69. It is relatively neutral in RSI. It's pinging a 0 on our custom indicator, and it is crossed to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a $15 retake. Original Bookworm asked for EHang. Is that the actual ticker itself? I have no idea what that company is. EH. Oh wait, yeah, there we go. They have an ER. I personally don't play ERs, by the way. They're a little too risky for me personally. But you did just ping a reversal to the upside at 36.04. You are a little oversold in terms of RSI or bearish, so I would be careful of that. If this thing falls below 50 SMA, I would be very short down to 31. I already did 3M. Let me do Home Depot. So Home Depot is bullish, but that said, that's just based off of the overall trend. If we can cancel this crossover right here in terms of our hourly chart, I definitely see Home Depot heading even higher. It's been on this super steady uptrend, and I think we'll probably see it continue just based off of how it is as of right now. Roku and Zoom. So for Zoom, I'm personally not a big fan of Zoom in terms of like their price action, because some days they'll be completely flat, other days you'll see like 5-10% days. So it's just something to consider. That's just my personal bias. But we did just ping a reversal to the downside at 331, and I think that if they fall below 200 SMA, they'll head even lower. They're currently coming out of the overbought for RSI, and you just had a crossover. So below 325, I'll take it back down to 318. Roku, let me just move it into the middle, actually, Roku. And I'll swap Roku with Activision. Okay, so for Roku, you currently have this kind of little bull flag setup almost. You have a reversal to 331.88 to the upside. If you can get above 200 SMA, I would be long. Otherwise, I would be very careful taking it. Roku, I personally don't play it. I have a little vendetta against it. It's a little too scary for me personally. That said, above 335, I wouldn't mind taking something like that. Or at least, if I liked Roku, I would take something like that. Next, we have Activision. Activision just broke above the 200-day moving average here at 95. It's overall just really bullish. I think we'll probably retest 100 fairly soon. This is on a 4-hour chart, so maybe like a 2-week, 3-week swing. Next, I have $U. Let me check over here. MMP and Walmart. So let's check that out. Okay, so U, I'm not sure what U is. Is this U-Haul or something? I don't know. Anyways, so U is currently almost looks like a head and shoulder at the 200-day moving average. If it falls back below 100, I would be short. But keep in mind you have the 50-day moving average right below, so that could just act as like a false flag, false, like support here in that, or even false, break, and that would just act as support. I'd be careful with this one. I would call this a little too early to call. I wouldn't take something like this. MMP, damn, you guys are coming out with these really nice breakout setups. So MMP currently is holding on to 50 SMA. It bounced, and we're currently testing 200-day moving average. We have a crossover wide open and a very bullish RSI. If you can break above the 200-day moving average, I would be long. And let me just put up a longer time frame. You can maybe start retesting 45 and 46. That would be for like a swing play. Otherwise, I don't really know how these guys play out. Next, I have Walmart. Walmart, bull flag. If you can break above 200 SMA, I would take it. But keep in mind, we just pinged reversal to the downside. We crossed over, and we are almost into neutral for RSI. So a little early to call, but if it breaks above 200 SMA, long. If it doesn't, short. Playing this breakout for sure. What is this, Google? Okay, let me make sure I cut off the no more tickers below here. All right, yeah, I'm gonna be closing off tickers in about 3 minutes. So if you have anything else that you want me to do, like say it or forever hold your peace. But yeah, let me get back to this really quick. So we've got, gosh, I have a lot of these things. Google, Applied Materials, great company. AMC, JMIA. Okay, so Google, holy crap, yeah, these guys are beyond bullish. Let me look at a 4-hour chart really quick. We just broke this top that we've been having at 2100. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Google continue upwards. We held on to 200-day moving average really nicely. We are a little overbought, but I think that if we can see tech recover kind of how it's been doing right now, we can definitely see Google head even higher. AMC, I'd be weird. Again, this is one of those meme stocks. I would be very careful with something like that. Below $9, I would take it very short as an H pattern in terms of an hourly chart. That's just how I would play it. Otherwise, I wouldn't play it at all. It's a little too much for me personally. You have almost like a little cursive H here on JMIA, but you double bottomed here at this like 31.30 mark, and you broke above 50 SMA. I think you'll probably end up retesting 40 based off of this crossover and bullish RSI. Overall, looks pretty all right. I already did Activision. I already did Square. Everyone loves Square. Yeah, I did Square. Lowe's. So low. Tesla. I already did Tesla, but I'll just go over this one more time. What are the green and red horizontal bars on my charts? It says reversal. Are they a custom indicator? Yeah, so these little bars that I have, the purple, green, and red, these are a custom indicator that I am currently having developed that shows reversals in the market, change of trend, sentiment change. And so that is kind of how I use those. I use it just to give me an idea of how to see the market going into the future. And also, let me just really quickly put up PXD. So yeah, all right. I'm also closing off tickers here. Okay, so lows. Lowe's is kind of bull flagging here. Let me pull up a 4-hour chart. Maybe that'll give us a better idea. Definitely a bull flag. I think above 192, we'll see this thing continue to rip higher and kind of follow that same trend that we see Home Depot on. Reversal to the downside at 190. I'm not a big fan of that. We are very bullish to oversold in terms of RSI. But if you can continue this uptrend and maybe have 50 SMA and 20 SMA catch up, we'll definitely see lows continue upwards. I'll just really quickly go back over Tesla. I'm personally in a call position. They just got upgraded. Overall, I think we'll see this thing go back up to 700. PXD just pinged a possible reversal. That's the purple. To the upside at 162. You just broke the 50 SMA. I don't like this candle right here, but that is in after hours, so be careful with that. You crossed over and you have a bullish RSI. In terms of our custom indicator, the gold line, it's at 0. So overall, pretty darn nice. I would take this if you can get it back above like 165 back to 170. That's just how I would play something like that. What do we got? Tilray. I don't really play Tilray, but yeah, got you. Ebon. And Snow. Oh, whoops. I went a little too close here. All right, so Tilray, you have a rounding bottom here with a possible reversal to the downside. You have a MACD crossing almost to the downside as well. I'd be careful of this 50 SMA. This is actually, wait, this is a 15-minute chart. Let me pull up an hourly. My bad, guys. Here's an hourly chart. So you just pinged reversal to the upside at this 50 SMA at 22.34. I'd be careful of a break below 22.25 because this could just turn into a bear flag and we head lower to like 21. You have a MACD that's trying to cross. It is still in the bearish territory. I would be careful. I think it's a little too early to call. Let me see something really quick here. Ebon is, I've never seen this stock in my life, but you have a bear flag and a MACD trying to cross to the upside. Above $7 or above $7.40, you can maybe see this thing retest to go back up to like the $8, $9 mark. Snow is another stock that is kind of on that rounding bottom setup here. We did ping a possible reversal to the upside at 221. If you can break the top at 237, we'll definitely see this thing eventually hit the 200-day moving average in terms of a 4-hour chart. That goes for that one. Next, I have Ford. I think I ran through the majority of these things. AMD. PayPal. Okay, so really quick, Ford definitely saw a little like double bottom action here at this $12 mark. I think that if we can avoid turning this thing into an H, we'll definitely see this thing kind of head back up to the 50 and 200-day moving averages. But if you can't, I would take this lower as an H pattern and maybe retest $11. Let me pull up that hourly chart really quick again. Retest, well, maybe not even. I just don't know the price action of Ford. Maybe like 1190. I don't really know how much these guys move a day. They don't look like they move too much. I wouldn't play options on something like this personally. AMD finally broke above the 200-day moving average. We just crossed to the downside. We are very overbought, so take that with a grain of salt. I think overall, though, it is fairly bullish, and I think we'll maybe retest the 4-hour 200-day moving average. Next, I have PayPal. Let me get a few more names off of my DM really quick just so I can start wrapping this thing up. Let me just take CLH, JKS. Oh, whoops, JKS. All right, so PayPal is crossed over to the upside. We do have a possible reversal to the upside at 237. Hey, yo, who got their little dog out here? We have a bullish RSI, and overall, I think that if we can break this top at like 250, we can definitely see this thing retest and go for the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. Overall, I think, fairly bullish. I would be a little hesitant as of right now because it is sitting a lot in the overbought area, but that's how I would play something like that. Next, we've got CLH. Celsius. I've never played these guys, but they are currently crossing to the downside, and they pinged a reversal to the downside. Overbought RSI reset, maybe back down to neutral. I would take profit at like 48, maybe. Just make sure that this crossover sticks. JKS is currently sitting on 20 and 50 SMA. You have a crossover to the upside and a neutral RSI. I'd be careful with this reversal to the downside. Overall, it's a little too flat for me to play. I wouldn't do anything with this one. Tesla, I already did that one. Facebook, SOS. Oh, whoops, where's my typing? SOS. And Lulu. So Facebook, I think, is still relatively bullish. We did cross to the downside and ping a reversal at 300.01. RSI is bullish. Overall, I'd make sure that this thing stays above 200. If it does, I'd be bullish. Otherwise, I would maybe wait for a retest of 293. SOS, again, I don't really do these like penny stocks, but we do have an H pattern, but we did ping a reversal to the upside with this crossover. Maybe have an RSI reset from bearish back to neutral, retest 5.27. I don't know how I would play this one, to be honest. Lulu, I don't like this price action. Honestly, this kind of breaks my indicator set. You might double bottom right here, but if it falls below 300, I'd be very short. This could just be a nice little H pattern. You're pinging a 300 custom indicator, and you pinged reversal at 308.3. I'd be bearish on this thing. What do we got? Nvidia. I think I might have done that one already, but I'll do it really quick. I'll do NNDM because I like NNDM. And I'll do Fubo, and that'll be the last ticker I take. Okay, so we've got Nvidia. Nvidia is mega bullish. We are super overbought, though. That is something to keep in mind. And let me pull up really quick a 4-hour chart. We finally broke above the 200-day moving average. If we can get above this like 555 mark, we can maybe retest 560. Keep in mind we are overbought, so we might see maybe even a tiny pullback just to reset RSI a little bit. Just be careful with this one. Overall, it's pretty bullish, though. And NDM, I'm personally a fan of this stock. I own a good bit of shares. But we did just ping reversal to the downside, potentially at 8.42. Something to keep in mind, obviously. We are still bearish in terms of RSI, and MACD is trying to cross, mainly because we failed to get above 50 SMA. That is in terms of an hourly chart. And when you pull up that was a 4-hourly. This is an hourly. If we can round out again above this like 8.4 mark, we could potentially head higher. I would be pretty neutral on this one overall. And lastly, I have Fubo. Fubo pinged possible reversal to the upside. I think we can maybe see this thing turn into a rounding bottom based off of this reversal here with neutral RSI. You have a crossover that might happen in terms of MACD. I'd be careful and take it maybe above 24. Overall, I think that is all of the tickers I'll be taking here. And skipped US 10. I don't even know how to look that up, to be honest. The 10-year. I can look up TLT. Yeah, I have no idea how to check the 10-year bond. Honestly, I don't really watch it.
Who the hell charged the 10-year bond? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, for real. But 10-year bond has been getting smacked, so I like that. I'm a fan of that. You have a reversal at like 135, so it might be a little, I don't know. If we start seeing it climb again, we'll definitely get a little bit of red again. Otherwise, though, I am still very bullish on the market overall, just as a whole. I think that we are seeing a lot of kind of sector rotation out of financial back into the tech side, and I think that if we have that set up, we can definitely watch stuff like Apple, Amazon, the squad, the FANG squad, head back higher. MA. I just rock this one really quick too. So MA, bull flag, and 358 reversal to the upside. You have a crossover. I would try to get this thing back up to 367. If it can get above there, retest at 370, just off of this bull flag setup here. Overall, though, that is going to conclude here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to DM me. That said, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in to tonight's Stock Talk for April 4th, 2021. I plan on doing these more often because I do like getting a pretty big watch list so we can kind of attack the week going in, head first. So that said, I will be concluding tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.